I love walks and they have totally changed my life, and they can do the same for you if you stick to the end of the video and you start experimenting. Here are 2 reasons why you should start walks, and after that I'm gonna be talking how you can maximize your walks. 1. Creativity. I get my best ideas when I'm walking, hands down, not when I'm concentrated on a specific task and trying to be productive. This has its reasons, but mainly it's because your brain is in a state called the default mode network. I won't talk about that too much right now because I explained it very deeply in the latest video, so make sure to check that for more context before you watch this. When you're going on walks, your brain has space to get new ideas. Your subconscious mind is working even when you're not being concentrated on a specific task or solving a specific problem. And as the subconscious mind holds most of the information, it is extremely important for idea generation to tap into it. And you could say that when you're walking, you are better connected to your subconscious mind. It's easier for ideas to slide into the conscious mind. So whenever you are stuck, you need new ideas, new inspiration, whatever, just take a walk. That might be all you need. 2. To health. I'll get more into health in future videos because health is extremely important, and most people don't actually understand and want to understand how important it actually is. Sure, it's not as sexy as productivity or like online business as subjects, but health is, in my opinion, after studying this a ton, it is the most important thing in order to achieve everything else. Here's what the science says actually of step goals. You might have heard of step goals, but you might have gotten into an fake information trap. While taking 10,000 steps is a healthy goal, the researchers determined that walking just 7,000 steps per day may be enough and can reduce the risk of premature death by 50% to 70% in people aged 38 to 50. And walking more than 10,000 steps per day does not further reduce that risk. 50 to 70%. And think about it, you might be getting like 4,000 to 5,000 steps per day, and this is probably the average for humans. And by just adding 2,000 steps, you will get insane health benefits. And you gain this by just going for a small walk. 2,000 steps is not actually that much. You might have heard of the 10,000 step recommendation, but that actually does not have research behind it. It has its origins in Japanese marketing campaign in 1965, and yeah, it doesn't have any research behind it, so that's BS. The 7,000 actually makes the biggest difference. Of course, the more the better. So how do I actually achieve these steps a day? So basically, how I do get 7,000 steps is just by walking inside from place to place, and then by taking a walk every morning, which is a 15-minute walk. It's my rule that I can't miss a 15-minute walk, and I do it in the morning for many reasons, but one of them being that in case my day becomes extremely busy, if my schedule goes absolutely crazy, then I know I have gotten my walk in already in the morning. Currently I'm recording this at around 9:30 AM, and all I have done is this 15-minute walk, and while walking from a room to another indoors, and I have reached like 3,600 plus steps. If I go for another walk today, which is unlikely because I'm actually still ill, I could easily like reach that 10,000 mark. It's been studied that those people who actually walk get more ideas than those who sit still inside their rooms or wherever, and it has this insane health benefits as well. So I personally see it as a no-brainer to take a walk every day. Okay, we have a bonus here, nature walk benefits. Now, where should you walk? That thankfully doesn't really seem to matter. Nature has been studied to have many health benefits, and for idea generation it is a tiny bit better than walking in a city. So if you can, go to nature. But if you can't, don't worry. It's not a big difference between the idea generation part, being in nature or being in a city. Being in nature has other benefits too, such as improve your mood, reduce feelings of stress or anger, help you take time out and feel more relaxed, improve your physical health, improve your confidence and self-esteem, help you be more active, help you feel more connected to nature. Again, if you can't access nature because you live in a big city or something, don't worry, you will get still amazing benefits from taking a walk. So just go for it. Heck, you can even walk in circles in your room, like Scrooge McDuck. That's what I do often, especially in the evenings when I don't want to go for a walk, because in the evening, like during the summertime, here in Finland it is very bright, so then it messes up with my circadian rhythm, so it's much harder for me to get to sleep. So what I do is I literally, like here, like behind me, I just like walk like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, like in the evening when I'm like brainstorming something, and that's what I do. And I do that kind of like automatically, but then now after I have been studying walking and its benefits, it actually makes sense why I get to my results much more easily when I'm actually walking. So heck. So anyways, go to nature, be in a big city, or heck, even your room. And in the summers I do take the 15-minute walk just like in front of my home, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And yes, it is boring, but that's one of the reasons why I exactly do that, and I'm gonna get to that later on when we maximize your walks. But by now I hope you see the value of walks, and now let's maximize them for you, that you can get most out of them. 8 rules to maximize your walks. During over 550 plus daily walks I have done now in a row, I have made some rules for me that do help me get the results I want. You can take any of these, you don't need to take all of them, but I would highly recommend taking all of these. Let's start. First, no phone. Now I don't mean do not use your phone at all. I do in fact use my phone a lot during the walks, but there are certain ways you should not use your phone during the walks. Do not use your social media. Do not use social media. This is for many reasons. The first being because when you use your social media, your brain is getting into the task positive network, and thus you are switching off the default mode network of your brain, and thus your subconscious mind will not be working as hard on these problems as if you were in the default mode network state. And thus those ideas, it is much more harder to float those into your conscious mind, which actually matters. And then the second reason being is that you will get some sort of input from social media, and this input, I would say mostly the information you will be getting is something that you do not want from social medias, because when you open up a social media account, whether it is X or if it is Instagram or heck TikTok, then you can't control what do you see first. When you open up that app, it could be very negative news or something, very negative, and you do not want negative information as your input for your new ideas. So be very careful on what you let to your mind during your walks. Also, I never check my messages, I never check emails, I never answer my phone calls, and heck, I go even sometimes totally off rogue. I put myself to airplane mode so that nobody can truly contact me. All I am allowed to do with my phone is write notes, record voice memos, ask Google of relevant information for my brainstorming, play podcasts and audiobooks. Plus one other thing, and that is that I am allowed to write threads, newsletters or tweets whilst I'm walking. And this is because I notice how much better my ideas just flow when I'm walking, so it is actually much easier for me to write them during my walks than sitting in my room. Often I'm either writing them or then I'm waiting for new ideas to emerge, that how can I make them better. And because I've been obsessing over, like during my work hours, how can I make this better, and that's why when I take time off, then my brain, my subconscious mind will start to push these ideas to my conscious mind. Or then I can just write them down kind of like what they were, and then I can implement them when I get home and I have my working hours. For example, I have left one example thread I wrote during my walks last week when I had my meme code launch. So like I want to introduce myself to a new audience. So I just went for a walk and I took around an hour walk, and I just wrote this thread during the whole walk. At times I was writing, then I put it away and let my subconscious again start working on it, and then like, oh, okay, I could make it better this way, and then I pull my phone out and I write it that way, and I repeat that process until I nail it. 2. To walk alone or with somebody else. Now, this totally depends on your goal. I like to walk alone mostly, and this is because I like to be disturbance free. I don't want the input from other people. But then, this depends on your goals, and by walking with somebody else and chatting with them, and of course chatting with them, you can have tremendous benefits from doing that. You could brainstorm with the other person, you connect your minds. This is what some people call the masterminds, and thus you can come up with ideas that you might have not gotten otherwise. Many people nowadays also have walking meetings, and they work very well because exactly of the science behind walks. Many companies have also implemented this. So it might be that you are already actually doing these walking meetings. For an example, an excerpt from Rest Why You Get More Done When You Work Less by Alex Soyun Kimpang. Google Mountains View campus is laced with walking paths. Facebook's corporate headquarters in Menlo Park, California, designed by Frank Gehry and opened in early 2015, is a vast open-plan building, supposedly the world's largest, topped off with a 9-acre garden roof featuring a half-mile walking path. Your brain activity lights up when you're walking. This has been proved by many studies. No wonder the biggest companies and CEOs love walking. To sum it up, walking, whether you are being alone or with somebody else, has tremendous benefits. So just select whichever fits your goal better. And maybe this goes without mention, but when you're walking with somebody else, make sure that you actually want to chat with them, that you're not just chatting with a random person or with somebody you can't stand, and then of course there is no bloody benefit to it. 3. Ideally walk the same path every time. I always walk the same path. Well, I have 3 different paths to be exact. 1 is basically the back and forth in front of my home. 2 is a longer walk in nature that takes me anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, 15 minutes. 3 is a walk in nature that takes me around 30 minutes to complete. Sometimes I take walks in the gym, but that's bonus, or then the walk in my room in the evenings. So why should you consider walking the same path every day? Habit. When you walk the same path every day for a certain amount of time, walking that path becomes second nature. Your body knows where to walk without you needing to pay conscious attention to it. You can use this attention to generating ideas and thinking. Often I start my walk and then I get surprised and like, oh my god, how am I already this far into the walk? And this is because my subconscious has taken over my walk. The path gets boring after some time, of course, but it's good to embrace boredom. There's many benefits to it actually. When your brain is bored, it literally starts to make things up. Your brain hates to be bored. You might have seen or heard of some videos or experiments where people are locked to a white room for like 24 hours and then they go nuts because the brain can't stand the boredom. Now, I do not recommend that you go to a room for 24 hours that's completely white. No, but this can show that like boredom starts to make things up. And as a creative, you want all kinds of ideas, so you can embrace boredom in a safe way. Of course, it can be beneficial to go for a walk in a new environment as well. For example, if you go to a museum, to an art gallery, you can get new ideas when you get new input from these new places that you have never been to. If you do this, still make sure to not check your social media. That's extremely important. Just pay attention to the new details and like what things you might have maybe never seen before. So it could be how the leaves of the trees look, or maybe how the concrete under your feet look. 4. The ideal time to walk. As mentioned previously, I do at least 15 minutes a day, but that's not exactly ideal time to walk. That's the minimum. Now, I'd say 45 minutes is actually the ideal time for walks, and this is because when you're 15 minutes into a walk, you get into a flow state, and you want to embrace this state. So, what is a flow state? Flow, the state in which people are so involved in an activity that nothing else seems to matter. The experience itself is so enjoyable that people will do it even at a great cost, for the sheer sake of doing it. And in this state, you're the most productive. I feel ideas flowing in even like a few minutes into a walk. But if I really want to brainstorm, I do not rely on the 15-minute walk in the morning. I do then take at least a half an hour walk that I can get into this flow state. 5. Have a notebook or notes app ready to go. You will get a ton of new ideas and insights during your walks. I promise you. But the thing is, you will forget most of them unless you write them down. Guess how many thoughts you have a day. You might think like, maybe I have 1,000 or 2,000 different thoughts at maximum. But the average human has 75,000 thoughts a day. Think about that. How many of these 75,000 thoughts you can recall? Like, let's say, yesterday's 75,000 thoughts. Yeah, probably not that many, right? Most of the thoughts are subconscious, so we won't even notice them, but they're there. They are speaking to us, and they alter our behavior and thus our future. When you're on a walk, these thoughts from your subconscious are flowing better to your mind when it's not cluttered with random inputs from social media and stuff. The bad thing is, often we do forget even our best ideas. You might know this feeling and you might have found yourself repeating this to yourself. I will not forget this, I will not forget this, I will not forget this, I will remember, I will remember. But then you end up forgetting it. And then you are so mad to yourself that you have forgotten this idea or thought or a thing you had to do. The good news is that it doesn't need to be this way. Just take a notebook or your notes app open or a voice memo. That's it. When you get an idea, write it down or record it somehow. You will remember it better then. You will not only remember it better after you have processed it, but you will also understand the ideas better. This is how you also block the creative block many of us creatives experience at times. When I started doing this, I have been drowning in ideas closer to than lacking any. Leonardo Da Vinci is known for many things, and his notebooks, many of them still remain to us today. He used to keep a book always with him, wherever he was. Whenever he got an idea, he'd write it down or sketch it out. And that's how he made a ton of different books of notes during his lifetime. He had a great source of ideas he could later combine, thus coming up with lots of new interesting and innovative stuff. I believe after you start doing this, you will not experience a massive block in your life. I'd say even perhaps ever. And you will be much more closer to drowning in ideas than lacking them. I have a ton of ideas currently for my art, my newsletter, tweets, threads, what to read, and much more. I already have like 6 ideas for newsletters I want to write, like after the latest one I have done. So 6 weeks more of content, and I will get more and more once I take more and more walks. Idea generation is also down to RAS, Reticular Activation System. Basically, this means what you're looking for, you will find. I might go later into this more in depth in another newsletter or a video. There's much about the brain that I think you could find useful. 6. Music. Most of the time I do not listen to music or anything else when I'm doing the walks, but at times when I really know what I'm there doing on the walk and what do I want to get, I might enhance the walk by music. Let's say if I want to visualize something and I perhaps want to feel more creative, then I might put some music that makes me feel more creative. And for example, lately it's been like Oppenheimer music. I'm a massive fan of that movie, and when I hear that music, I do feel my whole state changing, and like I do feel much more creative, and thus I do actually think I am more creative, and then I can get the outcomes from my walks that I want more effectively. So if you know your walk's goal, feel free to enhance it with music. And if you want to learn how you can actually enhance your creativity better with music, make sure to watch this video. I have put to one of these corners after you have seen this video. 7. The breakthrough formula. Now, lastly, the most important thing of this whole video is that not all of your problems will be just like that, solved by walks. Thus, you need to consume information from books, podcasts, or YouTube videos like this one. Maybe you journal and you try to find the correct answer that way. Or maybe you go out and you take a lot of action and you fail at some things, and thus you get feedback. Walking can't solve your problems without the proper input. Overall, work hard and then give yourself time to rest in the form of, for example, these walks, and then these ideas and solutions will emerge. If you only walk 24/7, you'll be in shape for sure, but you will not get the results you want if the results that you want are new ideas and be productive. First input, then walking. Just like Pang put it in his book Rest, where you get more done when you work less. Many famous stories of problem solving or creative breakthroughs begin with a period of intense work and focus, during which the scientist or artist or writer pores over evidence, labors over theories, and struggles toward an answer. Frustrated and tired, she stops for a break and turns her attention to something else. Days or weeks later, a solution suddenly appears. She hadn't been thinking about the problem, but in a flash, the answer is suddenly present in her mind as clear as day. She then returns to the problem and verifies that the insight is correct. I say this from the bottom of my heart. please try walks out. I do believe that they will do a massive difference for your life. Truly, just try them out. You don't need to commit first into like, okay, I'm gonna do like Hugo, like over 550 days of these walks in a row. That's a massive goal. But maybe you just start taking a walk every day, or perhaps you just go for a single walk today or tomorrow. You go and schedule it and you see how it feels. You don't need over 500 days of daily walk in order to see the results. Of course, you will see more results as you take more and more walks, but a walk, whether it is many walks or a single walk, you will see benefits and you'll feel benefits as well. You will feel different when you are relaxed, resting, when you're walking, instead of being super concentrated on a task. Walks have changed my life and I do truly believe they will change yours. Now, please do schedule a walk or go for a walk. You have got input from this video now, so you could get a breakthrough moment. Or then make sure to watch this video next to me right here for more information on how and why do walks and other forms of rest actually work that well.